Welcome to Less Than Ideal 20s with your hosts, Katelynn and Alexis. On Less Than Ideal 20s, we chat about life as 20-somethings and try to figure shit out along the way. Before we jump in, I just wanted to mention that if you would like to become a supporter for our podcast, you can head to anchor.fm/lessthanideal20s and click the support button. Thank you for all your kind support thus far. Today, we are talking about finding community. What does community mean? Our experience with past and current friendships, and how we connect or struggle to connect with others. So, Alexis, what is community to you? Do you feel like you have one right now?
Honestly, no. If I'm going to be completely honest, I don't. And when Katelynn and I were discussing what topics we wanted to, talk about on here, I didn't know if I'd be able to talk about this because I felt like I don't have one. But again, we're trying to relate everything and be as transparent as possible on here. And that's what it's all about. So I'm like, you know what? No, it's okay. I want to talk about it. And I don't feel like I have a community. And that's mostly because when I thought about community, I always referenced it back to my workplace. I made most of my friends at work, or their friends were like my friends as well. So it's like friends of friends. And that was my only sense of having a community. And because I was such a person that had a really good work ethic and everything like that, I just based my life around work. 6 months ago, that's all it was, as you guys know. And that's what I thought of community. The only other time that I could think about community was when we were younger and we were in Halau. And if you guys don't know what that is just basically what we call a hula school, where we learn to dance. And that was as big of a community I had. And it was my life for 7 years, maybe. From, I think I started when I was 10, and everything kind of fell apart, per se, when we were about, 15, 16, around that time, I think. And that was the only community that I knew of. And the only thing that drove it to be such a big community was because we had the common culture. And so anytime that I think of community, I think of the culture involved in all of that. And especially now, I'm still trying to find that community. And I'm such an oddball when it comes to going to school because I'm going to be 23 and I'm just starting to go to a university. I've been going to community college for 4 years of my life when I should have been doing other things. And when you're at community college, there's not as much of a student atmosphere, I guess, because people are just coming and going, and you're just there for literally your class and then you leave. I feel like at, an actual university, there is so much more for students to be involved with, and they want to be involved with it, and you have a bunch of sports and things. But I guess also it's at my own fault because I never wanted to participate in those school clubs or activities because of, one, I didn't have the time. I still really don't have the time, but I'm hoping that I can make some time so I can be more involved.
Ooh.
Yeah, I've been thinking about wanting to get involved, which is very out of my comfort zone.
Yes, because I have had discussions with Alexis asking her if she is going to participate in any clubs or groups and stuff like that. Yeah. She's like, no.
I'm like, no, I don't want to do that. I don't think that's for me. But I've never attempted at it. Even in high school, when I think about high school, I never attempted at any quote unquote clubs. I was on the volleyball team, but that was strictly just doing sports,
Oh yeah, I didn't think about that.
Yeah, you were super involved in high school, I think.
Yeah, I did. Opposite. Yeah, I did tennis, but then I also was part of Key Club, and I think there was some other groups, but they were more for the clout for your resume, But no, Key Club was cool, and it's just it's the same friends kind of in that same area too. So
yeah, but also going back on trying to find community in the university I'm going to be going to and when I was in community college, it's that age gap too. I feel like everybody is so much younger than me, or people are way older than me. Like there's nobody, you know, in my age range or something. But again, I ask myself, do I need to even care about that? You know, why am I putting such a box, I guess, around the fact that I don't have time, or, you know, these people are so much younger than me. Like, why does it fucking matter? Like, go make some friends, go be a part of the community, go find yourself, you know? But it's, again, thinking about everything else and all the other things I have to do, and then all while trying to find community. And I just haven't yet. I haven't.
Yeah.
What about you? How do you feel about community? Do you have one right now? Do you feel like you have one?
Well, before I jump into me, you know, you're talking about halal, which we both were a part of. That's how we met each other. Yeah. And this whole journey began. But, you know, she was talking about a common culture. And I think also within that culture, it's family. Mm-hmm. Like, we all treat, like, we're all family. Yeah. Like, no questions asked.
Even till this day. Till this day.
Yeah, exactly. Till this day. So I think that's another thing that makes it feel like community. And I at least how I like to look at community is like, it's your family. Like, you love them. Yeah. Yeah. You love them. And that's all there is to it. And then just talking about my experience with university, you know, with like the age gaps and things like that, I have met, like, there's been a few people that I've met and talked to that were like not much older. Mm-hmm. Well, some of them have kids. Yeah. Some of them, you know, some of them go to classes at night. Yeah. And, you know, like, there's so many people within university. And I mean, it also does depend on like where you are in the world and like what school you're at. 'Cause, you know, like, I think my school was known for being diverse. Yeah.
So, and you also had a big commuter school too. So a lot of people weren't, you know, on campus. Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah, I feel like I met a bunch of people, and I don't know if maybe it's just because I just happened to meet these type of people, but a lot of them just like vary in age, and it wasn't really that big of a deal. Yeah. Like, that's my experience with it. Like, it never was a big deal. Like, I never felt concerned. Of course, like, obviously, like, I was on the traditional, like, track. So, like, you know, I was like a year and a half? I don't know. I was a little late, but like, I was still like technically around that same typical age group. But like, people around me were back like either younger or older, and like it wasn't a big deal. So that is like my encouragement to you, that like you should definitely not let that like stress you. Yeah. Yeah. Age gap. Psh,
I know.
Forget about it.
It just makes me like, I don't know, but I think I'm also just so afraid to put myself out there, put myself on the line, and like that rejection, I guess. Yeah. Because I always, everything with community, I relate it back to halal, and everybody was always so welcoming. But you throw yourself out into the real world, and it's not like that. Yeah. You know?
You don't know, you know?
I know, but it's so scary to think about. Oh, yeah. And maybe there's other people that think like me, probably is. But, you know, I'm still looking for that. I'm still looking for that space. And a lot of the time, that space has been, you know, not social media per se, but it was YouTube. Like that is my outlet, you know? That is where I feel like I'm talking to a camera, yes, but I feel the most comfortable, and I've always felt the most comfortable doing that. And, you know, I love finding friendships and relationships through there. But yeah, I feel like that is, like, YouTube is such a big, huge community, and that's the only one I feel like I have at this moment. At this moment.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, Alexis and I are in the same boat. Like, I feel like I don't really have a community. There's like subdivisions, we can call them. You know, there's levels of community. I think it's a better way to say it. So like, I always have halal. Halal's always going to be part of my life, like always.
Forever, yeah.
Like, that's not something I think is ever going to change.